Hey guys, welcome back to day 5. Yes, today I was just thinking of making a video of some very common problems which we all face in our lives when we start to learn English or to speak English fluently. Okay, so in many of the sessions when I speak to people, whether they are corporates or students, they all come up with this thing that they want to speak English, but it's just that they are not able to think in English, or they start translating it in English, and then it gets difficult for them to speak. Okay, so the problem statement here is how to think in English. Okay, so in today's video I'm going to talk about this problem, which is how to think in English, or why we should think in English rather, and then I'm going to come up with a solution, like how you can start thinking in English, what are the activities which will help you to think in English, and I'll support each activity with an example so that it's easier or convenient for you to understand the concept and start practicing it accordingly. Okay, so basically I'm going to give you a demo or a sample which will help you to come up with more and more ideas of doing that or practicing that rather. Okay, and I'm sure this is going to really help you a lot. So keep watching my videos and please watch my complete video so that you get the right information and the right kind of message which I am trying to give. If you haven't subscribed my channel, quickly subscribe my channel, give me a thumbs up, like my videos, and do share my videos with your friends and family. Guys, I'm a communications coach and a soft skill trainer by profession, and I'm here to help you out with all your communications problems. And I have come up with a 30 days challenge wherein I'm going to talk about each topic which is related to communication skills, or which is mostly related to how to practice English. Okay, so I'm coming up with different topics every day which will help you to solve your problem of speaking English and understanding how to speak English, and at the same time it will help you to practice on those topics. So what you can do, you can listen to me, you can again start recording your video on the same lines which I have spoken about, so that you can have a practice session simultaneously with my videos and you have a reference also. Okay, so guys, let's get started with today's topic. So it is always recommended that stop translating and start thinking in English. Okay, now why stop translating? What is the negative of translating in English? Okay, I'll give you a small example. If we have to say something like, I am going for shopping today. If we speak that in our mother tongue, we say, मैं आज shopping जा रही हूँ. Okay, and if we start translating it in English word by word, it's like मैं, I, आज, today, shopping, जा रही हूँ, going. So it's like I, today, shopping, going. Okay, it will be like this if we literally translate each word, right? This is what we do in translating, right? So if we translate that, this will be a mess up. Okay, this is not the way we should speak. What we have to do is we have to speak that I am going for shopping today. But here what we are saying, I today shopping going. This is what the sequence of Hindi to English translation is. That is why it is wrong to translate literally from Hindi to English, or literally from your mother tongue to English. Okay, so this is why it is a no-no. You have to stop translating. But the one advantage of translating is, I'm going to share with you, is if you translate it with a little common sense or with a little alertness, it will help you. Now, for example, how you can take this translation thing in a positive way for you. What you can do is, when you listen to any English movie, when you're watching an English movie, you can just put on the subtitles. When you're listening to any English videos, you can just put on the subtitles so that you understand it better, and try and understanding it like what it is written. Read it word by word. Okay, that will help you to give an understanding and context to what you are watching. Okay, that will probably help you in understanding the language. Okay, the second thing, how it will help you in speaking or in fluency or getting confidence, enhancing your English. So what you can do is, and here I am talking about listening a video in your mother tongue or in Hindi. Okay, so you start watching a video or start watching a movie in Hindi or your mother tongue. But what you have to do is, sentence by sentence, you have to stop and you have to translate it in English. Okay, by doing this, you are practicing how you can, how well you can, or how perfectly you can translate that sentence in English. Okay, so that is why I said with alertness and with smartness you have to handle this. You know, you have heard what I am saying. I said, मैं आज shopping जा रही हूँ, right? So literal translation I said, you know you can't do that. Now you have to think about it like मैं आज shopping जा रही हूँ, how you can translate it in English. So you can say, I am going for shopping today. It's as simple as that, guys. Please start using this. Start doing this. It is really going to help you. Okay. So this is the basic which I said, how you can take it as a positive and negative of translating. Okay. Now, how will you start thinking in English? Okay. How you can stop translating and start thinking in English. Now guys, translating is something which is a process. Okay. So when you see something, or when you have that pressure of speaking, right? If you are in an exam, or you are in an interview, when somebody asks you a question, then you have a pressure, right? That you have to speak in English only. Okay, at that time what happens is your mind starts thinking. Okay, and simultaneously it starts translating. Like if somebody has asked you, tell me something about yourself. Okay, then your mind starts getting into this, like what I should answer. What should be my answer to this question, or how I should answer this question. And simultaneously what happens is you start thinking in Hindi or your mother tongue, like how what all things you are going to answer, right? And then you start translating it in English, and then you start speaking it. So it takes a lot of time and it all gets messed up, right? So it's a slow process and it's very confusing process. So that is why it is not preferable to translate from your mother tongue to English. So it's better you always translate, or you don't translate, but you start thinking in English. I'm going to talk about some activities which is going to really help you to think in English. I'm going to give you some situations. For example, the number one is, we all have this habit of talking to ourselves, right? In the morning when we get up, or we don't want to get up, like when an alarm bell is ringing and we are under the blanket. So we just remove a blanket and want to shut our alarm clock, and then we say to ourselves like, yeah, two more minutes and then I'll get up, right? Or you think something like, if you don't want to go to the college or school, then you start thinking like, oh, today I'll not go to the college, I'm not feeling well. And then you just take the blanket and you sleep. So this is what you start talking to yourself. There are a lot of occasions, or a lot of situations where you talk to yourself about things, right? This is one example. So when these situations come, you start practicing, think in English basically. So when the alarm bell rings, you can just come out of a blanket and say, I don't want to get up now, it's so cold outside. Okay, 2 more minutes and then I'll get up. Let me put the alarm off. Those 2 to 3 sentences you have to speak. Why don't we take an effort and start speaking those 2-3 sentences in English, right? So in this way, it will become a habit right? It will become a habit of you getting up or doing something. You will start thinking in English. So whenever you talk to yourself about anything, just think in English and speak in English in your mind. Okay, this will help you. So this is first situation. Second situation is having opinion. Now we all have opinion about others and ourselves also, right? For example, when we are going to a college or we are going to office or we are going to any function like wedding or engagement, things like that. So what we do is we go to the mirror, we get ready and all, and then we start asking like whether I'm looking good or not, my hairstyle is set or not, my earrings or my jewelries are perfect or not, my makeup, how does it look, or for that matter anything, you just talk about it, right? You talk to yourself about it before going or when you are getting ready. So why don't you make a habit of talking to yourself or having that opinion, okay, in English? We have opinions about ourselves, we have opinions about others. Like if we see a new car or somebody getting down from a car, we say, oh wow, this car is beautiful. I like this car. Let me check which company's car is this. And the color is not so good. Okay, so you have an opinion for others as well. Like that car which you saw, you liked that car, the design of the car, but you didn't like the color. So you want to see which company is it. Okay, so these are the opinions we talk to ourselves. When we see something, we start thinking about that object which we like or which we don't like or anything of that sort. So when we have this opinion, okay, or when we see ourselves when we are getting ready and say like, oh, I'm looking good, my dress is looking perfect and my makeup also, but this earring is not matching, let me change this. So you think about it, right? You give your opinion about it. You give an opinion, you have an opinion and you think about it in your head. So start thinking in English. Just start thinking about it in English and start practicing that. So when you have an opinion about others or yourself, start practicing it in English or start thinking to practice in English. Okay? Coming to the third activity or third situation is when you have some ideas, right? So when we get up in the morning and we plan like, oh, today I want to go shopping, or I'm going to go for a grocery shopping, or I'm going to go to a shopping mall, okay? Or if you have planned that, oh, come on, let's cook biryani today. Okay, so you plan, you start, you have some ideas in your head when you get up for the day, or some special occasions. If there is, I'm going to celebrate my birthday today. So these are the things or ideas which come to you when you wake up or you're doing something and something comes up. So you have these ideas, okay, which you start thinking about it, right, in your own language. So why don't you replace those ideas with English? When you get some idea, you start thinking about it, or start thinking about it in English and start practicing it. Okay, so this will help you to think in English about that idea. Okay, this is another situation or another activity which you can perform. The fourth activity which you can do is identify problems and solutions. Now what does that mean? What identify problems and solution means? Now we all come up with some or the other problem every single day. It may be small, it may be big, any problem, right? Whether we are struggling to study, or we are struggling to cook anything, or we are struggling to manage time, or we are struggling to make a video for that matter. So these are the problems, right? These are small problems which come up every single day. Okay, if we are studying something, if we are studying maths, we are not able to solve a problem. So that is a problem which comes up, okay, and then we look for a solution, right? We start thinking like, what should we do? How should we correct this, right? What should be a solution to this problem? I'm not able to manage time to study. So what should be the solution? Okay, so whenever you get these problems and whenever think of solutions, right, start thinking in English. Okay, so when you will start thinking in English, you will start getting into the practice, okay, you will start getting into the habit of thinking. Okay, so that is why whenever, so these situations come up very easily to us. Okay, it is throughout the day something or the other comes up, right? And we start thinking about it, like how we can solve this. If we are doing something, if we are cooking also, if something gets burnt, we start thinking immediately that how we should correct this. We should cook it again, or if we can correct this, right? So that is also something which is a problem and a solution. We think about it. So why don't we start utilizing those situations and start thinking in English instead of thinking in our own mother tongue. Okay, and guys, these situations or these activities are very from our lives. Okay, we all do these small things. We all have opinions about others. We all have opinion about ourselves. We all talk to ourselves many times a day. We all have this habit of having plans to go out to do something, to go for a walk or go for swimming or go to college, school, office, anything for that matter. So it is all in our life and it happens to us. So those situations we have to identify and start thinking about it in English. It's just that. Okay, so that is why utilize these situations and come up with an activity, and this can be an activity for you to start thinking in English. Take it as an activity. Okay, fifth one is making plans and taking decisions, and probably if something doesn't go right, then we regret also about things, right? Now for example, if we are planning for a holiday or a vacation, we have booked tickets and we have booked our hotels and everything, and we went there. But when we went there and we saw that the hotel is not that great. The services was not good. The hotel room was very dirty and the food was a disaster. So we regret that, oh, why did I book this hotel? Right? I would have booked a better hotel instead. So these things happen to us, right? When we go to a birthday party, we decide on a gift, right? What should we gift to that person? So we go and buy a gift and then we go there, and when we go there we see that the same gift somebody else has also given. Okay, so then we regret, oh wow, why did I choose this? So common, right? So these things happen to us. For example, in colleges we have guest lectures. In offices also we have some sessions, some yoga sessions or some other sessions which the HR organizes, and at times we go there and we feel, oh, why did I attend this? Instead of this I would have done some other work. I have finished my work, right? So you feel that at times. So this is how it happens to you every day. Make some plans, you take some decision, okay, I'm going to do this, and then at times you regret also that this was not the best would have done, or I would have done it in a much better way. So in this case also you can just start thinking in English. Okay, so take these situations and start using it as an activity. Okay, when these situations arises, you just start thinking in English about it. Okay, and just you have to stop translating. You don't have to think in your mother tongue. Instead, you have to start thinking in English. When you'll start thinking about these situations or activities, when you start performing this, it will become a habit. Okay, and these things are something which is there in your everyday life, which happens to you every single day. And if you start making this as a habit, if you start doing it, start practicing it right away, definitely you are going to master it. It is always said, when you continue something for 21 days, you are going to get into the habit. Okay, so it's well and good. Start doing it from now and start practicing it for 21 days and more. Get into your system so that whenever any situation comes, you can always start thinking in English. Okay. Okay, apart from this, I'm going to give you some tips. The first tip is, there are some things which are like, which go hand in hand. For example, greetings. Now, if I say hello to you, you are going to say hi or hello back. And when I say hi, how are you? Then you say hi, thank you so much, I'm good, how are you? So these things are there, like, it is used hand in hand. There's a standard answer to all these things. Yeah, things are good. Yeah, everything is good. I'm all well. Okay, how about you? So these are standard things. So you can just try to start thinking in English about greetings, like how you greet. So this is one way. While using greetings, you can think in English how you can greet back, or how you can, greet people. When you get an invitation, okay, so somebody asks you, are you going for the wedding today? The answer is yes, I will go for the wedding. Oh yes, I'm ready to go. Okay, so these are the things which go hand in hand. So some are the question sentences, some are greetings, question and answers also, like how are you doing today, or where are you going, or what are you going to do today, what are your plans for today. So those things are questions. So questions also come with answers, right? So you can prepare yourself to think in English to give the answers or ask questions, what questions you can ask. Right, the basic question. Apart from this, asking and giving information. If somebody asks, do you know where this bakery is, which was across the street, there was a bakery, I don't remember the name, can you please help me out with that? You can just say, oh yeah, you can go straight and then you can take a left and you'll find that bakery, right? So giving and asking information is also something which, what kind of questions you can ask, right? Where are you going? What are you doing? Or I would love to go somewhere. Can you please help me? Or giving orders. For example, your boss, I want this task completed by today evening. What do you say? Oh yes, surely I'll do. Okay. Or oh yes, I'll deliver, definitely. Okay, so these are the things which is like, if somebody asks you, or if you ask somebody, there's a standard answer which we give, right? So in those situations, start thinking in English, start replying in English in your head, okay? Or start practicing these things. Apart from this, is one more tip which when I would suggest is you keep notes in English. So whenever you go, or wherever you go and you come across with anything, or you want to write it down, keep a diary probably. So every single day you can write some 3-4 sentences evening, or before going to bed you can just write 3 or 4 sentences about how your day was. Okay, and morning also you can just come up with, when you're brushing, you can just come up with what your plans are like. Okay, you can start thinking in English when you're talking to yourself. So at that time also you can talk to yourself and you can start planning, right? And at the end, before going to sleep, you can jot down how your day was like in English. So in this way you can have English moments also. Like we say, create an English environment for yourself. So you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to movies, you can listen to or watch movies, or you can listen to music, or you can listen to any talk shows, or chat shows, or anything for that matter, news for that matter. So you can listen to all these things so that you can create an English moment or English environment around you, which will help you again to think in English. Okay, hope this is going to help you guys. See you. Bye bye.